G'day folks, welcome to Robbie's River Roundup for Friday the 20th of February 2015, proudly brought to you by Robbie's Rods, Reptiles and Rabbits at 14 Robinvale Road, Renmark. No, just kidding folks, proudly brought to you by Adventure Camping and Fishing at 14 Rowan Street, Wangaratta, where at the moment they have got a red hot special. They have got 30% off all of their Stony Creek gear. That's their Stony Creek boots, their Stony Creek jackets. The cooler weather is on our doorstep. There's less than 10 days of summer left and it's going to be hunting season before we know it, and with 30% off all Stony Creek gear, now's the time to get into adventure camping and fishing. Get your new raincoat, get your new hiking boots and get ready for the upcoming hunting season. Have a look at this. You may remember last week I mentioned that I was about to buy a little portable espresso machine to take out the bush. Check it out. Somebody asked me if I could do a demonstration of one of my river roundups, so here it is. That's just my burner. It's a gas bottle. Had this burner for years. And these burners are the best because they've got the little hinged legs so you can swing them around inside in case you've got a little saucepan or something with a smaller thing on it, a smaller base. This is the espresso machine. You fill it up with water, put coffee in it. When it boils, the pressure forces the coffee up through that copper tube and into the cup which sits on there, which I hope I brought with me. You set that on there, you light that, and away it goes. Here's the cup. Let's give it a crack. First I'll take the top off, pull out the little mesh tray that sits in there. It's only 3 pieces, that's all there is. There's the top bit, the reservoir, whatever you want to call it, and that bit which has the coffee in it. Now just excuse the traffic, I'm sitting up on top of Tamnick Gap in the Warby Ranges. Any rain that falls on that side of me goes down into the Winton wetlands and ends up over in the Broken River. Any rain that falls just over that ridge just there ends up going down into the Ovens catchment, the Ovens River. And they all end up in the Murray eventually. But anyway, what I do, firstly, I'll get my U-Butte water bottle, which I've pimped up with a Bassman sticker and a Strike Tiger sticker which is a bit faded. I'll fill the coffee mug up first. That's about how much I want. A little bit from the top. I like to have a bit of milk with mine. I'm a bit of a wuss. So I've got the right amount of water in the cup. Pour into the well or the reservoir. So I know I've got the right amount. Put the little funnel in the top. Get me coffee. I carry it in a little plastic lightweight container because I carry all this in my backpack when I'm fishing or hunting or just hiking. Put about a teaspoon in there. I don't carry a teaspoon with me. Yeah, that's about a teaspoon. I could carry a teaspoon, but when you've got a lot of stuff in your backpack, you try and keep the weight down where you can. Surprised I haven't been bitten by a red duck sitting on this table, to be honest. I might yet. Okay, so I've got the water in, I've got the coffee in. I screw the top on. Now we're ready to go. Just a word of warning, when things are hot and dry like they are now, never use these little portable burners anywhere near flammable materials. Don't use them near leaf litter or long grass. I'm up on top of a table here, I'm away from anything that can burn. So it's quite safe, even though it's a bit windy. On days of total fire ban, you're not allowed to use them at all because they do throw out a naked flame. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to work out which way the wind's blowing. There's a couple of ways to do this. I can hold that up. The old Scout's way. Because my finger's wet, this side is cooled down, so the wind's obviously coming across from that way. Or I can just throw some leaves in the air. Yep, I was right, the wind's coming from that way. So what I'm going to do, when I put my cup on my espresso machine, I'm going to have the handle facing up into the wind. Because most of the heat is going to travel with the wind, so this side's going to be hotter than that side. That way I'll be able to hold my cup a lot easier, if that makes sense. So right, it's ready to go. Let's crank her up. Turn the gas on, light it with the piezo. Away we go. There we go. That's boiling. While I'm waiting for me coffee, let's talk about the rivers. How are they looking? The rivers are looking low, very, very, very low. I was up in the hills during the week And some of the trout streams up that way are dry, unfortunately. They're not just dry in the bottom ends, they're dry right through, right up into the top ends. I was at one particular creek, it's called the Middle Creek. I used to catch a lot of trout in it as a kid. It's quite a funny story, but a bit sad, but I've driven up into the four-wheel drive part, got up into the state forest, driven down to this nice campsite, got out, got me gumboots on, rigged up me little soft plastic on me line, put a backpack on, locked the car, put the keys in me bag, whatnot, walked 50 metres to the river, or the creek bed, got in, bone dry, not a drop of water in it. That's very, very sad. I'm trying to work out what's going on. It hasn't been the hottest or driest summer on record. It has been warm and it has been dry, but we have had good rain in January, and it's with less than 10 days to go in summer, we're still yet to have a 40-degree day in Wangaratta, and at this stage I can't see us getting one. I apologise for the wind. You're probably getting a lot of wind on the camera at the moment. It's because I've got the camera zoomed in a little bit so I can capture this. So the trout streams are really, really low. And it's not just the Middle Creek, the nearby 15 Mile Creek, you'd fit that through a pipe 2 inches round at the moment. G'day Terry. I don't know them. Terry Plant Hire, they hire our cranes and stuff from Wangaratta. I've got no idea who they are, but I'm giving them a plug. If you need a crane or a grader, look up Terry Plant Hire. Anyway, yeah, so the trout streams are really low. The Rose River is struggling, it's bone dry in a lot of places, like the Middle Creek. These streams do flow underwater in some areas, but not all areas. A lot of the areas dry up. Where they flow underground, where they flow underground, they will come up in the deep holes that will have a little bit of water in them. So the trout streams are looking really poor at the moment, unfortunately. Some of the higher altitude streams that flow off the higher mountains that capture a lot more rain and they have damper springs and that, they're looking a bit better, but you've really got to head even further up into the hills than normal at the moment. Now is a very hard time to catch a trout. The lowland stretches of the creeks and rivers are all looking really good. Crank that up a bit. The lowland stretches are looking really, really good at the moment. The lower Ovens, the lower King, the Broken, the Kiewa's looking really good. My mate Brenton Richardson, who lives on the Kiewa River, was telling me the other day that it's been up and down like a yo-yo lately, which is the story of the Kiewa River. It can be a very unpredictable river. It can be high, it can be low. They release water out of it to generate electricity, and you just never know when they're going to do that. And when they do, the water rises and cools down and the fish just shut down. The trout go alright, but the cod shut down. So at the moment, the rivers are looking okay. Trout streams are very, very low, and we could do with some rain. But like I said before, I've been trying to work out why they're so low, and I think I've worked it out. It's not so much the summer that's been the problem, it was the spring that led up to the summer. You may remember some of my earlier river roundups where I mentioned that the rivers were looking really good, in fact too good for the time of year. Back in October they were looking good when they should have been looking high, In November they were looking low when they should have been looking good, and by December they were too low, and now that it's February and going into March, this is the time of year when they're at their lowest, and they are really, really struggling. And I think it's all because we missed out on so much spring rainfall that we normally get. So hopefully this year we get some good winter rain and some good spring rain and some decent flooding to lead into a better season for next year, because that's what's been absent, the big rains and the floods. For now everything's low, lowlands are looking good. Now it's just time to wait for my coffee to boil. I tell you what, it can't be long. Oh, maybe that'll help. I didn't realise just how low I had that then. When it's up full boil like it is now, it normally takes about 2 minutes. I only had it on a really low setting because I wasn't concentrating. Could be like Russian roulette, couldn't it? I could pull the cup away and see what happens. But I know what would happen the moment I pulled the cup away, the coffee had come out. Here it comes, here it is. Here it comes. There's me coffee. Oh, it smells nice. Something about food cooked out in the bush, or coffee cooked out in anything out in the bush. There it is. There's me coffee. Now I'm going to be like the wuss that I am. That handle shouldn't be too hot. You've got to be careful. That handle can get very hot. But like I said before, I placed that upwind of the main, on the upwind side of the burner. Had I had it on the downwind side, it would be too hot. Now I'm a wuss. I'm going for the sugar. And I might even go for a little bit of milk. I don't worry about spoons and crap like that. I just get the sugar sachet, and it's good these little sachets. They're not the most cost-effective thing for around the house, but they come in handy when you're at the bush. Put that in there. I'll stir me coffee. Dear God, I thank you for this cup of coffee, this meal that I'm about to receive, and if it's not too much to ask, can you please send us about 4 inches of rain? Amen. I've never seen this road so busy. Righto, have a great week folks. Hopefully we get some rain, there's none forecast. If all else fails, have a coffee. See you next week.